Okay, we're going to be installing a Powercommander 6 on this 2025 Canam Outlander 850 XMR. Nice thing with this Dynojet Powercommander is that you don't need to unlock your ECU to tune your machine. No sending the ECU away, no big expense, no voiding the warranty. So that's a big plus. So, what comes in the box is a piggyback fuel/ignition controller. So you'll be able to extend your rev limiter, adjust your timing, and obviously adjust your fuel. And this will do dual cylinder tuning as well, which is a big plus. A bunch of features like launch control. You can change the fuel on startup, 2 different fuel maps. If you're running 91, 94, which is a big plus. So the tools you'll need, pretty basic stuff. A T20, that will do the one little screw for your airbox cover, 10 millimeter, the 2 bolts that are in front of your airbox cover. T30, that will get multiple screws, bolts that hold the side panels, fuel pump cover access, side cutters, putting zip ties on, running wire nice, and then a various trim tool removal. It all depends on where you're getting at, how tight they are. These will be great for pulling the coil on plug harnesses off. Same with the fuel injectors at the tight breech places, and as well install. Big plus. But yeah, anyway, let's get this under wrap and what to pull off first. Obviously, you're gonna wanna pull off the seat. Pretty basic stuff. Side panels. All this stuff needs to come off. Easier access. That's one thing that's nice about the G3s. Canam made them a little bit easier to work with. Not dealing with a million push pins. Lots of the stuff is all one-handed, out of the way stuff. So this airbox cover, this is that T20 screw, and then there'll be this 10 millimeter and that 10 millimeter screw will have to come out. So let me do that. So like I said, we'll start with these 2 10 millimeter bolts that hold the airbox cover on. Milwaukee ratchet, working like a charm. And a T20 to remove this one screw pointed out moments ago. Oh. 2 bolts, 1 screw. USB charger, just unplug that, just like so. Not really necessary, but I'm doing it just because it's going to give a little bit more room to work on, not fighting it. So these are going to be T30s, 2 on each side, and also the T30s that cover the fuel pump access, where the Dynojet PC6 will actually be mounted under. So the PC6 will run there, wires will run along down the frame, everything like that. So we'll take the 6 T30s out and then go from there. Exactly the same on the other side. These will just help with access to the front injector, front coil, and on the other side the plastic just kind of pulls away a little bit just to access the throttle body and the TPS connector. Fuel pump access. The PC6 will be taped right here. They want you to double stack the Velcro that comes with their PC6. So put that to the side. You always want to make sure you clean that off real good. It comes with an alcohol wipe. And I also like to apply a little bit of heat to it just to make sure the adhesive sticks. This will come off as well. It doesn't need to be, but we'll just unscrew that. There's this little rubber piece under there. It'll access the 13mm jam nut that holds the shifter on, which I just recommend using just a bigger screwdriver just to loosen it off. They're pretty tight, but not too bad. And we'll just put that in park. And then, yeah, that just kind of pops out of the way. Able to get at the injector and the coil. We're actually going to pull out this front piece right here. There's 4 push pins. We'll pull those 4 push pins, pop those 4 push pins out, remove that, and again, it'll have more access. If this was a non-XMR model, you can actually get at through the top where the radiator hose goes. Right through here. But with the XMR, they put the rad hose right through there, and this panel is kind of in the way. There's a little rubber piece down there. So obviously on the XMR, can't get at that. So this panel, we're gonna remove, there's 4 push pins holding it in. One there, one up there, one down there, one down there. What this is gonna do is get access to that front coil on plug. And any kind of tool works, some push pin removal tools. I'm a big fan of Mako tool, foot blade, trim tool removal. It works great, push pins, kind of what it's designed for, but makes quick work of all that stuff. pops right out like that. Now you can actually see the coil on plug down there to get at. The same with the injector. It's difficult to get up in there, but so it's going to be a little bit hard to film all that stuff, but yeah, you need to pop all that stuff out just to get easier access. And then we'll put the PC6 where it's going to stay, and then route all the wiring from there all the way out. And we'll probably just tackle the front cylinder head first, just because it's going to be a pain in the butt. So this is the fuel pump access panel that I was talking about earlier that the Powercommander 6 will mount to. So the Dynojet Powercommander 6 comes with this little alcohol prep pad that we're going to just make sure that area is nice and clean. Same with here, kind of want to go on the back as well, just kind of prep it. The serial number, part number, they put a label on the back, but inside the unit, it is also saved there. So even if you do wipe that off with a different cleaner or anything like that, it's stored inside there. But always kind of keep your box, because the box will have the serial number as well. And you will need the serial number for when you do a Rev Extend request on the Dynojet website. So in this little box, there's little rubber pieces. The one long one will go along here. This is for adding, like, you can add like a map sensor if you go to boost, map switch, launch control. All these have features. You plug into your temperature input, so you can have a cold start feature. And these are just additional ports for if you want to have like a pod 300 to monitor data, a wideband so you can monitor AFRs as well. So expandable, a lot of neat stuff on that. And like I said, no need to send your ECU away to do proper tuning on your machine. This is going to be nice for guys that want to retain their warranty, because Canam now has a 1-year warranty on their machines, and it's just a nice peace of mind. No downtime. Put it in. You want to get a custom tune, you can do it email. You can data log with this as well. So lots of cool features. And again, at the end of the day, saving people some money. So we're just gonna take these Velcros out. Dynojet requests they to be double stacked so they're not sitting down in the ribs. So that's what we're gonna do, is double stack it. And again, like I said, sometimes just using a little bit of a heat gun helps, just for the glue to adhere to there. And lots of room under there to mount it however you want. Obviously this goes towards the back, this towards the front, and probably just mount it just like that. And then we'll put this over on the machine and then just start laying out all the wiring. All right. So, Powercommander mounted on the back. Actually, that's perfect how that's situated right there. So ground is going to go, we'll probably just put it right there on that stud. So ground there, and then Dynojet wants the wiring harness ran up all along the left side of the machine. This is going to be for your rear cylinder ignition, so it's going to piggyback your rear coil plug. And this will be your rear injector. This will be your TPS for your throttle body. The yellow one with your front injector, front coil plug, and then on this one right here, this will go down to your right side of your engine and tap into the crank sensor. All that stuff does is control your ignition. Allows you to have a rev extend as well without reflashing your ECU. So we're just going to run this all the way down to the left side of the panel. And then we'll start removing the coil and plug harness and all that. So we have all that stuff connected. Grab a 10mm socket, hook the ground up. So this is where these big, long, actually hose clamp pliers are going to come in handy to remove that connector and also put on the new connector. So I'm just going to come through this side just because you can't really get any other pliers to grab the back and pull it off. But on the side here, as you can see, just kind of wiggle it a little bit. Now, if you've already used your machine, it's pretty muddy. This is going to be a little bit more of a task. And there, got that plug off. And the Dynojet one is just going to piggyback into that one. All right, now we have the piggyback for the rear ignition coil plugged in. So next one we're going to do is going to be the rear injector. Now this side panel where I popped off, and that's why I have the shifter knob off, so you can just kind of pull it out of the way, no problem. And then right there, you can see the rear injector. That's what we're gonna have to access. You actually kind of see the front one in there, and it's kind of hard to see with the light. And then way down there, that guy, well, let's see if it focuses. Yeah, that one right there, that's going to be the TPS piggyback. It's in there a little deep, but again, those long pliers I have will do the trick. All right, let me get those connected. All right, so best way to do this, 2 hands, long needle nose pliers. You're gonna have to squeeze it on both sides like that. And then this, you use long needle nose pliers, squeeze, and it pulls off just like that. A little bit of a job to do. Dynojet actually recommends pulling the injector off because it's a pain in the butt. But 2 hands, needle nose pliers, you're all good to go. All right, so now we only have the 3 wires left. Front ignition coil, front injector, and then this is the crank position sensor. This will be routed down here, and that's going to connect into this harness right there. We'll run these 2 wires up along down in there, and then secure them with some zip ties. But forget at that, we got the ECU in the way. It's not really in the way, but we can still get in there unless you have man hands, and that's gonna be a little difficult. So we're just going to unhook the ECU, just like that. And again, if you run your machine in mud, those might be a little bit difficult to get at. So just spraying some silicone spray up along in here definitely helps. As you can see, there's the front ignition coil, and then in behind, hard to see, you can actually, right there is going to be the injector plug. Don't really have a way of holding the camera just to show how to do that, but release the tab, it'll pop off. The injector one's going to be a little bit of a struggle just to get the tool in there and my hands. But 1 minute as I will do those, and then I'm just going to do the crank sensor last, just so save the easiest for last, right? All right, 1 minute. So after we got the yellow front injector wire and the front ignition coil wire, we'll just run it along here. Just got one zip tie on the front fuel line. This now is the crank sensor, which is located down here. We're just gonna start feeding it under through there. Just try and run it with the other factory wires, just so you have something to zip tie to also. Again, some nail nose pliers will help grab that wire harness nicely, in case you have too large of fingers to fit in the tight areas of this machine, which is a lot of them. And then we're just gonna run it through here. I try to keep all the factory zip ties in place because they aren't that cheap. We'll probably keep all the extra wire up close to the top piece up there after we have all the connections all done. So this one, they have it zip tied to here. We're just going to cut that one wire, or zip tie, I mean, just like that, and cut both of those just to make it easier to work with. So crank sensor wire, we'll just plug this piggyback into there. And there. And we will zip these all up. Just make sure they're not going to be running or rubbing on anything. And the next video, part of this video, I'll just do just running along where I have it all zip tied. But that's all up to you on your machine, what you want to have it all zip tied up as. There's no wrong way to do it unless you're trying to zip tie it to a drive shaft. All right, have all the wiring all in place, all zip tied all up. All along there. So one thing I actually changed from Dynojet's instructions, Dynojet wanted the PC6 mounted under here. I found like the wire was just not long enough to go under there. It looked like an ideal place, but now kind of seeing where the exhaust is, maybe it's not the best choice in my opinion, just because there'll be some heat and everything in there, and I feel like it wouldn't secure very well right there. So Yeah, and it had this wire really tight. I didn't like that. Any tension on any wire on the connectors, I can always pull out a pin. And in the bush, that's bad news bears. So under the DLC and then battery jumper cable area, I ended up just putting the PC6 right there. Nice little spot. Not going to be sitting in water when you go in water, just because there's a bunch of drains, and it's going to be sitting up. So even if it does get water on it, it's not going to be a problem. I've never had a problem with these with water issues. I never put them in a Ziploc bag or any kind of case, because water can get right through here. These units are epoxied and are pretty good. I've never had an issue, like I said, putting them in a Ziploc bag or some kind of seal container can actually basically put them in a sauna, and that's when you get problems. Also, don't dielectric grease your connectors. That's an isolator. You do want to put some dielectric grease along the boot, but not where the connectors are. Dynojet will void your warranty doing that if it is on the connectors, because it is an isolator, not promoting conductivity. So that is where I put mine. You can put yours wherever you want, or however is convenient for you. Just place it up so it's not going to sit in water or near any heat source. Electronics heat, bad news. But yeah, other than that, have it all ran. I'm quite satisfied with that. Pretty easy install. Realized that front ignition coil, it's actually pretty easy to do a front plug on it. I believe it's easier to do plugs on this than a G2. I didn't think that. I always heard horror stories on that, but super easy. 4 pins. If you take this off, you can actually get at the plug up in there. If it's not an XMR, it's going to be even easier. Next part will be just putting it all back together and then firing it up. Well, the install is complete. Plastic's all on. And it's time to fire it up. Sounds heavy. So on the next couple of videos we'll be going through the Dynojet software for requesting and activating a rev extend on these new Gen 3 machines with a P-drive clutch. I recommend 8900 RPM. These clutches do not like high RPM. And also going through if you need a throttle position reset, anything like that, I'll go through, or if anyone asks a request of something to go through on the Dynojet software, I can kind of run you through it. The beauty about this programmer is that, once again, it doesn't void your factory warranty. You don't have to send your ECU away to be reflashed. No chances of the ECU being damaged. It's a piggyback system. You can have email tunes sent to you. You can data log with these. You have so many features: launch control, temperature control on startups. You can add boost to it with adding a map sensor. Lots of cool features. And like I said, the best part, no downtime, and that you keep your factory warranty. And yeah, adding a map sensor as well for 94 octane, 91 octane, you name it. Lots of adjustment. Dual cylinder tuning, all that good stuff. So it's great that Dynojet stepped up to the plate on providing more products for these machines, and I'm continuing, most likely, providing more. Like I said, any questions, just hit me up and I'll do my best to help you out. Anyway, Till the next time.